Hi guys, my name is Jocelyn Weber-Stoker, and my Module 4 video is going to be a little strange. I couldn't interview my university administration. I work at a university in South Korea, and we don't really have the same kind of administration here. I'm part of the foreign language department, and within my department we have a leadership style where there's a head of department and head teachers and then normal professors. So our head of department does all of the interacting with the Korean administration and all of the talk about the criteria for being accredited and all that is just handed down to her from the government, who passes it down to our university, who passes it down to her and says this is what you need to make sure the foreign professors are doing. And then we're just kind of left to our own devices in our department because the Koreans recognize a lot that we're all from Western cultures and it's very different, and they don't want to offend us, and they don't really understand why we're doing what we're doing a lot of the time, so they just trust that we're educated and that we have good ethics and let us do the best job that we can, which in a way is great because we have a lot of autonomy. But I think we also have a lot of support. So like I said, there's a head teacher system. So if I have any questions or problems in my classes, I just talk to my head teacher and say, you know, what do you think I should do in this situation? And he'll ask someone if he needs to, or he'll just give me an answer and I'll do what he says. Also, I work in an office where there's like 70 head teachers, and I think there's maybe 30 or 40 of us in the office, and we're often teaching the same classes. There's maybe 6 different classes available for us to teach, and we each teach 2. So everywhere that I go, there's a couple of people who have one of the same classes as me, and so I can often say, oh, you know, chapter 6, I'm running into this problem with the students can't grasp this, and they'll say, oh yeah, I'm having the same problem. And if enough of us are having a problem, we'll submit a request to the head teachers and they'll tell us a solution. We'll have a committee meeting and talk about different options and they'll tell us a solution. Or often someone just says, here's what I did, and everyone goes, oh wow, that's really great, and we all just use that. So I think within our department we have a lot of support just because everybody's going through the same problems and solving them together. If we really have a problem, like with the curriculum, for example, we can go to the head teachers and request the head of department do something different. Like, for example, we have a presentation class, and our textbook for the presentation class didn't have anything about presentation skills. It was all about grammar and sentence structure, and we asked to have a textbook that was more about presentation skills, as that's what we were assessing them on. We wanted to have the curriculum be more supportive and guided towards the assessments. And the next semester we had a new set of textbooks for that class using TED Talks. It's called Keynote. It's using TED Talks, and presentation skills are covered in the textbook. So they definitely listen to us, and we definitely have a lot of support. And professional development meetings where the professors will present to each other about what they're researching, or different techniques that they found have been really successful in helping them. So I think we have a lot of support, and the relationships within our department are really good, but we're in our own little corner of the university and we do not interact with the Korean university or have anything to do with the administration. So it's kind of a combination of like a democratic leadership, sort of, and then authoritarian from the university staff. If they tell us something's changed, we all just say, okay, yes, let's do it that way instead. And I think that as far as the KESA, it's really hard to relate the 4 R's. I mean, we do have relationships, we have our own sort of professional development, but there's not really any kind of nationwide standard for that. It's just university by university, what the professors have put together for themselves. There definitely is some responsiveness, like we do measure our own student learning, but how we do that is with a standardized test. So at the end of the semester, all the students have to take the same listening test regardless of the professor, and we don't know the questions, so we have to just prepare the students as best we can with the textbook, and then they take the standardized test together. So it's kind of making sure that all the professors are teaching the same quality. And the Korean accreditation standards are much different. I'll post a link with the website for the Korean University accreditation standards. It's like the number of facilities, the amount of full-time faculty and how educated they are, the retention rate of the students, so if students are enrolling and if they're re-enrolling, how much money is being spent on education versus how much the students are paying in tuition. If the students pay a ton of tuition and we're not spending anything on education, that lowers their score. And there's a whole auditing committee that comes to the school and goes over these with the Korean university, but that's all really behind closed doors. We don't see anything about the performance data. I mean, I've run into problems in classes before, like the data management class, where I was supposed to get numbers on how my school was performing, and that's just hush hush. Nobody knows that information. It's not made public. You can't find it on any websites. And when I kind of asked in the office, is there any way I could find this information? They said, no, it's going to look really rude for you to be asking. How I've talked about, my students need to be one step lower than me, and I need to be really one step higher than them in the classroom. Not we're friends, but I am the teacher and I am the authority figure in the class, and there's this hierarchical system here. So for me to start asking questions about how are we doing, it seems really rude, and it's like I'm questioning. And especially since I come from another country, the Koreans will feel like, oh, she's going to go back to America and tell all those American college students about what we're doing in Korea, and they're going to think that it's just a really uncomfortable situation for them. They feel like they're being judged and tested, and it just makes them feel really uncomfortable and angry with me for asking. So it's not a good situation. They never talk about how can we improve. We do that within our department to some extent, but never with the Korean staff. So I hope that you guys understand a little bit more about the Korean university education system and the accreditation process and how the leadership styles work within my situation. Okay, thanks guys.